Yeah, I know. I couldn't help myself, but the schedule came out over the weekend. We talked about it, we dissected it, and now I want to just have a little fun to start off the week. So, what we're going to do is go through this schedule and do a way too early prediction of what the Browns record could be this year. This is the first time I think I have gone on record with a record prediction this year. So what is it going to be? How many wins do I think the Browns could have as of now? Well, let's talk about that. But before I get into that, I want to make sure I give a shout out to the patreon.com dog check tier members. And I'm going to start with Fred Pratt III, David Valtier, Relentless Buck, Chunt, Rex Kaufman, The Real Quincy Carrier, Kevin Johnson, Marino V, Cleveland Cart, Matt H, Sign Sheets, Gemini, Fight Dirty 74, Yo-Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hundo Magnifico, Rob Ferron, Kyle Stouffer, Lukey from Munich, Dave Roth, J Guy 101, Joe Bobby, Brad Cowbo, Dylan W, James McGinley, Arenda Hall, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Dylan Hale, Josh Bendor, Mark M, TJ Showman, Stuart Moore, Cleveland BCI, Robert Jermaine Jr., Dave Mike May, John Cummings, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bear, Brock Kumar, John Albert, Masayua, Buds of Roland, James Nemo, Mac House, Reeve Hertz, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Sean Barron, Goggles Pisano, Corporal Nick Lopez, Dom Gazzulo, Nick Nasty, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Anthony Latham, Christian, Dave Strong, Matt Stone, Charles Work, Billy Moose Gentry, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, Dog Pound Kai, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Kirkabar, Lydia Mahawk, Jesus Serrano, Chris Phones, Picktown Browns backers, Mark Kahn, Max Owl Dojo, and Water Bear Marketing. Again, guys, thank you so much for your support. It means a ton. Your support keeps this channel ticking. So again, I am so thankful for what you guys have done and continue to do. Now let's talk about this win-loss record prediction and let's see how crazy things get. All right, so we're going to jump into this one and do a schedule prediction. There are going to be some games in here that I'm going to think are a little bit more 50-50, but I'm going to push myself to make a win-loss prediction for every game this season. And we're going to start with the game against Kansas City, 425 on CBS. And this is an interesting one, right? It's kind of weird that the Browns are starting 2021 literally and figuratively and mentally right where they left off, right? They're going to be in Arrowhead. It's going to be a game played at a eerily similar time to that playoff game. This is like a mulligan, a redo for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I don't doubt the Chiefs' ability to be motivated for this game. The Chiefs have a lot they want to right after that embarrassing Super Bowl loss. So I don't think motivation will be lacking on either sideline. The Browns want to prove that they are a better team than they were last year, and they get an immediate opportunity to prove that. The Chiefs want to prove that they improved over the offseason, that they are still the apple of the NFL eye and that they are going to be the quote-unquote dynasty of this generation, which a lot of people pegged them as before this season started. So that's going to be an intriguing matchup. Matchup-wise, I think the Browns match up much better than they did the first time against Kansas City, but I don't know how the road is going to affect the Browns, how this being the first game, and for whatever reason in Cleveland, the first game, it just never goes right? It just always something goes wrong, something ends up flat. Even when the team ends up being good, that usually means that the game that they play first is horrible, right? You think of 2007, they played one of the worst opening games in the NFL, well, in Browns history, and they ended up going 10-6. And then last year, right, they played a stinker of a first game. And then they went 11-5, beat the Steelers in the playoff, and then the Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year, right? So fantastic year, horrible first game. It just seems to be the way it goes. So I'm going to say that the Chiefs are going to win this one purely because the Browns just have terrible luck on those opening games. I'm going to hope that they break that, and if they do beat the Chiefs in Kansas City, that is the end of all that first game stuff. But until proven otherwise, I cannot trust the Browns to win that first game. The next game against the Texans, who knows who they're going to have at quarterback? Who knows what's going on with them? Browns should win this game. They should be ready to get some revenge after losing week one. The Bears, Yeah, they should beat the Bears. The Bears are going to be starting either Andy Dalton or Justin Fields, probably Justin Fields, because at this point, Andy Dalton just shouldn't be the starter. And I don't think you're putting Justin Fields in a great position by having Andy Dalton still on the team. So we'll see if he makes it through training camp. But, my thing is, if you go with Justin Fields, you got to get rid of Andy Dalton, because all that's going to happen is when you have a backup that's qualified and has accomplished a little bit in the NFL, all that's going to happen for Justin Fields is that the second that Justin Fields throws a couple of interceptions, or second it looks a little shaky, coaches, because they have a defensive head coach, we know how they get down in the NFL, and fans are just going to be calling for Andy Dalton. And Andy Dalton's the kind of guy that he goes to. Look at Tua, right, where Tua got yanked in and yanked out of the starting lineup, and it didn't look great for his development because they had somebody like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Again, if you really are buying into the quarterback that you have, you should not have a backup that a lot of people want to see play. Like, there's a joke about how people can be mediocre quarterbacks and be backup quarterbacks. Some of that is for a reason, right? Sometimes you want a quarterback that ain't nobody gonna, in their right mind, ask for. Like Case Keenum with the Browns, right? Yeah, you could say Case Keenum has accomplished some things, like he had that one decent season, but when you look at Case Keenum and you look at Baker Mayfield, all you see is a much more downgraded version of Baker Mayfield. Like Baker Mayfield without everything that makes him the number one overall pick. No disrespect to Case Keenum. I think he's a great locker room guy, and all the intangibles and stuff and why he stays on a team. Like I don't question his character or anything, but just physically as a player, that's who he is, and that's why you have Case Keenum on the team. One, because he runs the same stuff as Baker, and two, he's not as good as Baker. So nobody's really going to ask for him if he has some mistakes, even though some people will talk themselves into something stupid like that. The next game is against the Vikings, and right now at this point I have the Browns at 2-1, and I think they're going to go 3-1 at the Vikings at Minnesota. Kevin Stefanski, a return game. The Browns are basically a better version of the Vikings. They know that offense well. They should be able to defend against it well. Now you should say the same thing against the Vikings, right? The Vikings know this offense well. They should be able to defend it well. Browns, I think they're a better version of the Vikings at every level, so they should beat them as it stands right now. And then you get into week 5, and I think this is where things are going to get a little shaky here. I got the Browns at 3-1, and I do think they're going to have a little turmoil here, right? Because you're going to play two offenses that are going to really test where this defense is, and I don't think the defense is going to be where it needs to at the beginning of the season, so I don't think they're going to beat the Chargers in LA. I think something funky is going to happen. It's just going to be one of those games where nothing goes right. So they end up losing that game. And the game against the Cardinals, look, that is a game the Browns can lose because, one, the Cardinals do some things offensively that can be very tricky. Now, again, Kyler Murray tends to throw himself a lot of interceptions in the second half of the season, but you're seeing Kyler Murray in the first half. He tends to be much better in the first half of the season than the second half for whatever reason. So I'm going to say that the Browns will end up after week 6 about 3-3. I think they're going to lose 2 games in a row. People are going to panic. First time in the Kevin Stefanski era that the Browns have lost 2 games in a row. I know the era, it's only been 2 years. And the Browns are going to be 3-3, but they get that home Thursday night game, and they're going to win against the Broncos. And in week 8, they're going to beat the Steelers at home. And then they're going to go to Cincinnati, and they're going to get that W in Paul Brown Stadium, and they're going to start to hit a roll here. They're going to go at New England. I think they'll win that game at New England. I think they are a better team than New England at this point. And then they're going to beat the Lions, so 5 in a row, and all of a sudden the Browns are 8-3. And then it's week 12 against the Baltimore Ravens, the thorn in the side of the Browns, the thorn in the side of the AFC, right? They're a team that they don't necessarily on paper look like they should be the best team in the AFC, but they're always there, and they're always very dangerous, and they can prick you and end your season just like that. And you got them on NBC with a 5-game winning streak on national TV, and the narrative is going to be formed here because you're not going to beat the Ravens here, right? You're not going to beat them, and people are going to start to wonder, are the Browns just beating up on bad teams? Is there 8-4, a paper 8-4? They're going to have a lot to think about while going into the bye. then things will start to get together defensively, right? You're going to beat the Ravens coming out of the bye week, and then you're going to go to the Raiders, and you got to get that win back. Well, you're playing them at First Energy Stadium, so you have to get that win back. And then you play this interesting game in Green Bay on Christmas Day, week 16. Now, this is a game, if you need to drop a game, you can drop a game here. But I'm going to say that the Browns are going to win that game because I don't know who Green Bay's quarterback is going to be. And I still would like the Browns' chances if they did have Aaron Rodgers. Then you go at Pittsburgh. This is going to be nerve-wracking. The Browns look like they're on a roll again. They're starting to get some national respect again because they lost a couple of big games early on in the season. Now you're on Monday Night Football at Pittsburgh. And it's time to put on a show for the first time in over 25 years. The Browns will complete a sweep against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is not a prediction, by the way. I am just having fun on this schedule guessing thing that you might call a prediction, but it's not an official prediction because we know how my predictions about the Steelers go. On the record, for good luck's sake, I do say the Steelers are going to be 10-6 or 10-7 or 11-5 or 6 or whatever it is. It's really weird with the extra game in there, but I am officially saying that the Steelers are going to be decent this year. But the Browns are going to sweep them. Week 18, they play the Bengals. They might have to play in this one to secure the division crown because it's going to be 2 division games on that day, the Ravens and the Steelers and the Bengals and the Browns. So the starters might have to play, and if the starters play, I'm sorry, Cincinnati fans. I know you think I'm a Bengals hater, but yeah, they're going to beat the Bengals if the starters play. At this point, I think the Cleveland Browns are a better team at most levels, if not all, than the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think they have really good answers for everything that the Cincinnati Bengals do. Baker Mayfield seems to play really well against the Bengals. I don't really have a compelling reason on why that would change. So there goes the sweep there against the Cincinnati Bengals, which is not new, but the sweep there against the Pittsburgh Steelers is new. And that'll have people in Cleveland really excited. So the Cleveland Browns in 2021, my guess is that they will finish the season, 13-4. And I think that is a really reasonable goal. Look, I know people are going to get crazy. Hey, the Browns could go 16-1, 17-0, whatever you want to say there. But I do think the goal should probably be 11-13 wins. If you get more, great. If you get less, not great, right? You need that 11 wins. So it's a one-way spectrum. You need to get to 11 wins, and that's actually putting the bar a little lower than it was last year. 11.5 will be where the bar is this year since you got the extra game. But 11 wins is where you need to get, right? You need to get to 11 games. 13 games, that is a marked improvement, and that might give you a home playoff game, and it could give you a chance to have home field in the AFC. Like, you could win the number 1 seed with that kind of record, but, if you want to do that, you have to change some things around. You'll probably have to only lose 3 or 2 games and beat the Chiefs, right, to get that number 1 overall seed. But it's all on the table for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, everything that the Browns would want, their destiny is going to be in their hands, right? If you want the number 1 overall seed, you're probably playing the number 1 overall seed week 1. So if you want that tiebreaker, you can go get that tiebreaker. If you want to win the division, it is all there for you in the second half of the season when your defense theoretically should be at its height, right? Should be ready to go, gelled up. So it's all there for the Cleveland Browns. They are in control of a lot of things with this team. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think what I'm saying and predicting, not officially, but officially predicting, is accurate or reasonable? Or do you think I am going too low or too high? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.